Well, good evening. This is Big G here coming at you. Well, not live because it'll be pre-recorded. So, coming at you if nothing else. Just want to pop up a video tonight. I hope you're all doing well. It's Monday night. It's been one hell of a day for me. It's just been so dark outside and so depressive inside my head. It's been tough to get through, but hey, here we are once again. If you're looking at this, then you made it through today as well. So awesome, excellent. Hope the week gets better for you. Nobody's put up comments with regards to my copy of Mulan, which is going free. So come Wednesday, it's unwrapped and watched, and there won't be another one. So if you leave a comment, copy of Mulan's yours. Up to yourself. I do fancy it though, so if you want to hang off, that's cool. Anyway, so thanks for watching the videos, by the way. The numbers are awesome. For me, I didn't expect one person to look at them. And also for the thumbs up on Facebook from so many people. I didn't expect whatsoever. This is just me being a bit thick, daft, trying to be funny, trying to get us to look at life differently. And I'm amazed at the people who have been watching them. So thank you very much. It really makes it worthwhile, and I think I'm learning probably the most of all of this about life itself, and I do pray it helps you as well in some way. I've had various topics, and I've had two groups of people I've had two groups of people not very happy with the videos, and you'll guess that they're both Christian, so we just ignore those complaints. But, yeah, seriously, they're the only ones that have really been getting upset. They're not particularly keen with language, you know, but they seem to expect that way back in the 1st century when Peter was throwing fish in the back of his boat, he was, oh my goodness, all those fish, you know, I mean, grow up. So anyway, we talk as we talk normally. No pretense on this channel. No, we'll kid on, we're at church, so there'll be no swearing. None of that bollocks. You just are who you are, simple as that. So I want to take you back a few years, and I was watching the clock. It was 10 to 12, I believe it was. The last 10 minutes just seemed to spread out for an eternity. I thought I was stuck in Groundhog Day, but I watched this 10-minute clock as it came down and down and down. I was sweating. I was full of anticipation. I was nervous. I was excited. And as it struck 12, I was out my seat and off. My heart was a flutter. I mean, honestly, I was sweating like crazy. Back in those days, there wasn't any links kicking about, so the shirt was soaking up all the water. My heart was racing, my head was pounding. I come bounding down the stairs with anticipation. I was so looking forward to what was going to happen. I was on a high, nothing bothered me. I zoomed past people, flew down the stairs and outside, and there she stood. Her beautiful blue eyes staring at me. I saw the wee pigtails in her hair. I could see the broad smile. She'd come round to see me. And as I threw myself towards her, I gave her a hug and an embrace. I knew that this was the one for me, that I had met my soulmate, that this was my forever. And as they say in the animal kingdom, I could see us both going over the Rainbow Bridge together. Hopefully if not for 90 years right enough. But this was mine. I could see in her, I was having kids, grandkids, I could see her home, having careers, I could see us spending time together on holiday, accomplishing great things in our life because of the love for one another, how we devoted each other. I saw the 50 years coming and the parties celebrating. I could see people staring at us, that we still had the love that we had on that first day. And I was 9. I was 9-year-old. And I met this girl, and she was my dreams. This was my life. I dreamed that I would still be with her at 9 to 9. And to be fair, when I look at myself now as well, and you've gone back, I'm a bit of a catch. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, we like to kid on that I'm ugly and that, but I was a catch back then. I had the bowl cut, I had the tight trousers, had the belly hanging out the front, the ass hanging out the back. I had the whole man boobs starting at that time. The process was coming through. Those gorgeous white NHS glasses that just shone cheap. And they were that thick, they were like the bottom of milk bottles. But hey, I was a catch. Honestly, I was. She's lucky to have me. She really was. I was sick with love. I remember actually at that time, I remember back now that I was so fascinated with this girl that I couldn't eat. I mean, anybody who knows me, I've never had a problem eating unless I was sick. That was the only thing, sickness and diarrhea. But I was fascinated with this girl. I was in love with her. She was just everything I wanted to be. I couldn't eat. I couldn't concentrate. My mind was always in the clouds, always dreaming of what we would do together. And actually, if I'm honest, and it's just, I hope you don't call the police on this, but at 9-year-olds I actually became a stalker. I used to hang about the top of her street, watching their house, hoping she'd come out. I used to go to friends who lived next door, and I was basically just staring out the window, hoping to catch a wee glimpse of her. I mean, at that time I think I actually started window licking as well, with anticipation that she'd come out, and I got into the point where I started stealing their underwear. Now that's a joke. That last one seriously is a joke. So please don't take it seriously. But I was fascinated with this girl. There was a song going about at the time where her name was in it, and I just couldn't get this out of my head. It was a song called "Oh Carol, oh Carol, I am but a fool." Do you remember that one? It's an old golden oldie. I loved that song. It was in my head constantly. It was competing with Dana. Do you remember Dana back in the day? What was it she singing? I was watching the other day, the Irish singer, gorgeous as well. Anyway, they two were in competition, but it was usually Carol one that rung out. But that first love, that first feeling that you have where you have love for someone different from your family is incredible. It's an incredible feeling, but it really cracks you up because it's very difficult to deal with. And sadly, majority of wee romances like that, in your late 9, 10s and your teens and that, they don't ever last. And my dreams got shattered not that long after it. One of the local boys came round the corner one day and saying to me, "Oh, you're dating Carol?" I'm dating Carol, aye, right. Never been out with her, but she was my date. He necked on with her. That was me, gutted, finished. I would never speak to her again, or her family, never hang about her street. I wanted nothing to do with her. It was over. My life had finished. I was depressed. At 9-year-old, I realised what depression was, that I couldn't get to see my love again, that she had moved on to someone else, all at the age of 10. I'd matured to 10 at that point. Primary school was good growing up. There was a few girls in there, but once you've been around them for, 7 years, it was like, okay, the pool of talent is quite narrow. But then the day comes where you hit high school and they start filtering in the schools from around the district, and you're sitting there in the registration class, and then they come, oh my goodness, I thought I died and went to heaven. It was like paradise. There was birds everywhere. Gorgeous, blonde, brunettes, cuddly, skinny. Oh my goodness, it was a feast for the eyes. It was a bad time for, being a young man at that point. I had love and adore somebody, and I think in every class. I went to secretarial studies, a girl called Diane. Oh my goodness, she was just something special. English class, there was Anne, tall, skinny girl. She was really attractive, I liked her, but couldn't go near her because of the parents, and get to them morons again. Maths, I had Lula, who actually was a girl from primary school. Art, there was a girl called Vicky, who was, she was bra. History was a difficult subject for me because there was 2 girls in that class. Tracy, who I sat beside, who was just gorgeous lassie, and then Christine, who sat in front. Christine was just, oh my goodness, all my dreams came into one. So there was a big competition there. Both looked completely different, but both adorable. And then PE, PE was cool because every lassie who was in shorts and had a pulse, that I was attracted to, especially when they were running about and they were starting to develop and bounce. That was, high school, yes. I'd go back to that, wouldn't go back any further. Sadly, as I watched all these girls, and I did all right at school. Got asked a couple of times, a girl from Pomont who was just stunning. I wasn't allowed to date any of them. How do you explain that? If you date a girl, you'll leave this house. I didn't think the girl would take me in at 13-year-old, so we were snookered, just weren't allowed to date, which was pish, by the way. That's the only way to put it. But love's a beautiful thing, whether it's late in your 9 and 10, where it's that wee first stirrings of love, in your teens where you get attracted to a girl and you start to build a relationship, or you're with someone and you marry and you live together. Love is beautiful. It's a thing to be around. It's a thing to nourish, to build, and it's lovely to see in someone's eyes that how they adore you for who you are. It's great to be loved when people don't have to love you, but they love you because of the person that you are. And love's in different stages, isn't it? We grow up in a family and we're loved by them, so we have that type of love around us. We go on to meet a partner, we fall in love, we get married or we move in together. There's a physical love, there's an intimacy with one another where you're sharing each other. And another great love moving on from that would be a love for your child. When your child is born, it brings in this new aspect of love that you never knew existed. You just adore this little thing in front of you. I mean, even when you find out that your partner's pregnant, it's like, wow, we're bringing a baby into this. Who the hell are we going to cope? But it's like, wow, this is incredible. And you watch as the bump gets bigger, and obviously your partner goes through an awful lot of stress with this. But there's excitement as well, because in 9 months or thereabout, you're going to have this beautiful little baby in your hands. And I was allowed into the room when both my children were born, and when they handed me a Chloe her own, and it was just, you couldn't speak. It was incredible to watch this little thing develop with its wee hands and crying and shitting everywhere. It's incredible to behold that this is part of you, and the love that you have, it just surrounds the whole thing. You know that this love will be the rest of your life. Yes, there'll be ups and downs, but you'll still have this attachment because this is part of you, this little one. And really, birth is a miracle, and watching your child develop, and as your love develops, they tote her off to primary school where they're still needing you, and you're still feeling a great part of their lives. Then they start secondary school, and they're starting to mature. You see them develop, their wee lives come through. Higher education, they hit 21, so they're starting to make choices for themselves. And that love remains for them, even though they're different from what they were 20 years ago. But you still love them, you still adore them. Whether they're £7 or 10 stone £7, you still have that love for your kids. And really, birth is a miracle within itself. It brings in this whole aspect of a new love that you've never experienced, that you only experience with a child. We currently have a population of 7.4 billion people in the world or thereabout. And I was looking at the stats of babies born every minute. 250. Holy cow, that's a lot of babies. Imagine putting up with them all in one. You never sleep again. And the miracle of love surrounds us, and our children and our partners and our families, our friends at times can be even better than families, because they don't have to accept you, they want to accept you. So love's a beautiful thing to be around. It's majestic. It lights up your life. It gives you a reason for being. It makes you feel important. It makes you feel wanted. And it makes life, at times, which is difficult, durable, because you have this comfy love around you, which is beautiful to have. But on the other side of that, there is love lost. Whether it's a relationship that hasn't worked, or you and your family have fallen out, or you've fallen out with your kids, there's the pain and the sadness, the pain of, I brought them up for 20 years and look how they treat me, or I'm part of the family and exclude me. Loss of love is very difficult, and we so easily turn to hate, don't we? What we've adored before, we suddenly hate because of the way we were treated. Nobody goes into a new relationship planning for its failure. I mean, I think it was 40% I said of marriages survive, or was something like that. So it's like, nobody goes in seeking the demise of a relationship, but that happens all too often. With partners, nobody stands on the altar and looks ahead 10 years that they'll not be together. They look into each other's eyes, declaring their love, declaring that this is forever. And sadly, these things don't work out. Same in your family. You grow up with your family, your brothers, sisters, your parents, grandparents, and everything's good. You care for each other and you're open to each other. Then somebody says something, or you do something silly, and it causes a split where you're no longer talking. And again, your newborn that you love, you adore, they grow up, they become young adults, and they maybe do something that hurts you, or say something that hurts you, or disappear with a boyfriend and never think of you again. So love can be lost, and it can be lost quite easily, I'm afraid to say. Every relationship that we have is open to brokenness, a stray word, a mistake, some said in anger, an action that wasn't wanted or wasn't taken the right way has the power to break a relationship, however strong, however long it is, it breaks it. sometimes it's silly wee things, isn't it, that get in the way. You know, I'm not going to your wedding, but I want you to come, Dad. It doesn't matter. I don't like your future father-in-law. If I turn up, I'll leather him. Or it's funerals. You know, Sister Joyce shouldn't be at this. Our mum never saw her. Hadn't seen her in the last 10 years. And yet when she passes, she's sitting there. I want nothing to do with her. Or if it's child christening, that's always a great one, that one. There's always somebody peed off when a child is getting christened or baptised. Whether it's the mother or the friend, there's always somebody not happy. And they're not happy with the dress. If you picked it, the mother-in-law doesn't like it. So there's always these wee silly little things, exchanges that can cause major issues. Or the parties. I'm not inviting Uncle Bill. Why? Because he gets wrecked and hits on my pals. I'm 16. He's 46. So it's all these silly wee things that cause like separation from people and from family. And then what happens is other wee things build on them. And you get to the point where there's nothing but war. Or even the other one I saw is the first day at school. Your dad can't be bothered to give us some money to look after you. Then he's not going to walk you to school. I'll do it myself. And actually I'll not let him know. So there's wee things that can come in our lives. Wee petty things that we wish you could have sorted out that can start to bring in problems in families. And as I say, all what happens is people side with each other, and before you know it, you're drawing battle lines, and it's just all so sad. But there are other things that cause major splits in families, which are serious and difficult and seem no way to be able to get past. Comments like, he isn't living here anymore, he stole from me again. That pattern of feeling your home's insecure with your child in it. I can't live with him anymore, he's too violent. It seemed like a slap at one point. He was so sorry, he would never do it again. A slaps that happened again, then you get a kick, and then you get hit by a frying pan. So you get to the point where you just can't be around the person. Where is Bill tonight? Oh, Bill about screwing that 20-year-old, and then they'll come back telling me he loves him. Marriage infidelity. It's a massive thing. Men and women committing adultery and kidding on that they're still in loving marriages. Or comment like, I'm not going to A&E, this is his third overdose, it's so embarrassing. If he's going to continue with this, he'll not be living here. You accuse your father of something, maybe they've spoke to you inappropriately or touched you inappropriately, and nobody believes you, so you have to move away from the family home. Or comments like, the stress that you put on this family has caused your dad's heart attack. You're being blamed, it may have been something silly, but that brings a divide in the family again. Comments like, I can't forgive you this time. If she does it again, she's gone. You've never loved or provided for your daughter. I can't deal with your depression. Your moods, I never know which Graham I'm waking up with. You can be violent, you can be really nice. It's causing me nightmares, I can't sleep, and I'm at the doctor. There's so many things that come in life that just break relationships altogether, whether that's family, partner or children. It's so easily done. There are millions of old people living in their society, living in their streets, who are on their own, living in isolation and loneliness over things that were said even 20, 30 years ago. But we just can't seem to reconnect. We allow egos, our own self-righteousness, pride, stubbornness, and even arrogance at times that we will not back down. He said that and we won't let it go until he apologises. One of the worst things for asking people to do is apologise. I mean, I've been around a lot of people and it seems to me it's always in the wrong. I quite easily can say I'm sorry because I say it every other day. But it's one thing that seems to be difficult. We live in a world where we just won't let things go. I find it terrible to let things go, but we just can't seem to let go. There are even times we're actually lying in a situation to make it look better for ourselves. How pathetic is that? I've done it. I mean, I've lied just to win an argument. I've lied just to prove that they're in the wrong. Lied just to get them to say sorry because I'll feel better about myself. It's terrible. And the one thing I keep thinking about when I was an undertaker, there's absolutely no point crying at somebody's funeral if you let them go without sorting things out. There's no point standing there in tears and saying, I wish I had the extra 10 minutes. I wish they were still here. I wish I could tell them I loved them. Because by then they're gone. You have the time at the moment to rectify situations, as do I. And we need to push through and take them. As hard as it is, that person one day could be gone. None of us are promised tomorrow. So we need to start considering the losses it will take. So much of our relationships can be rectified through two ways. If we just listen to each other, Stop the shouting and the swearing and just listen and explain how you were hurt. You know, what hurt you. I, years ago, was left out at my sister's wedding. That hurt. Of course it hurt. My parents didn't see how it would, but they didn't seem to understand that being put out of the family means you miss out on family celebrations. So it's about explaining to people exactly how you feel. And don't get me wrong, there were people who are not interested. There were people who couldn't give two hoots about how you feel because they're so damn selfish. And that there has to become a line that you draw and say, I can't do any more. But until that is there, then for the sake of yourself and sometimes even for the sake of the health, sometimes we need to push through and try a bit harder. So much of the pain in our lives is caused by raw emotion. We're caught on a bad day or we're in a bad mood and we see things we probably shouldn't have. And all they do is they just fester. And separation occurs and you never think, oh, it must be their fault, and you're happy to live with yourself. Many relationships in our lives, if we're honest, will never be mended. Many people will go to their graves, anger, hurt, depressed, upset with people who felt didn't love them. Many lives are left hurt and damaged over things that weren't said, things that weren't done, and reconciliations that they didn't work for. And I say this to myself as I say this to all of us. Let's not stand at funerals of people and wish we had more time, and wish we had an extra 10 minutes, and wish that we could have said something at least, or wish we could have even tried to rectify things. I've saw it at parents' funerals, siblings' funerals, your daughter funerals, partner funerals, friends' funerals, great relationships that were broken by silly things, sometimes by bad things, but you never got reconciliation. You never got to sort things out, or at least try. And standing at a funeral weeping when we had time before it, let's use that time. Let's try and sort things out. Life can be bloody miserable, long and boring, but we need to start thinking of each other. Time's short. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. This pandemic seems to be rearing its ugly head again. Any natural disaster can fall on us. So time isn't promised, and that's one thing we need to remember, that tomorrow's not promised for us. We make plans for weeks and months and years ahead when we used to be holidays, but it's not even promised for us. Where there's life, there's hope, and where there's time, let's use it wisely, because we've all said things and done things that have upset people. We've all been the stupid things and we've not apologised for them, or we've not tried to rectify them. At least look at ourselves. Let's look at ourselves. Let me look at myself and mother and say that I've done all I could. And when that time comes, you have to walk away for your own health. But if you've not reached that time, then realise that there's still time. People die and we miss them and wish we'd say things. If you're wishing you could say you loved someone, then do that tonight. Email them, text them, talk to them. Because sometimes they're just a call away. But there'll come a time where they're gone and death has occurred. We also are separated from God, but there's hope in Jesus and there's time as we live. Tomorrow is the day for coming to God and for salvation in Jesus Christ. Tomorrow isn't promised and tomorrow is too late. I hope this has helped. I hope it's shorter. I'm not seeing what the time is. Again, it's just my thoughts. Maybe it's not a good one or a bad one, but it's just these help me and I hope they help you. That's the main thing. John 3:16, Romans 10 and 9. I'll put it on the record. And if you want to know more about faith. Anyway, take care. I'll put another one up in a few days. And have a good week. And if you don't, there's always prayer. Take care.